Hello everyone, today I continue sharing the story of the single mother, Diệu Hân. The icy wind cut through like invisible blades, sweeping through the trees, carrying dust and the damp, heavy scent of an approaching storm. Hân lay there, right at the foot of the old bamboo ladder, her fragile body curled up instinctively, yet drained of all strength to protect itself. The first drops of rain fell, cold and piercing against her pale skin, making her tremble weakly. Then the rain grew heavier, pouring down as if it meant to drown the little garden in a sea of water. Her once shiny black hair clung in wet strands to her ashen cheeks, covering her closed eyes. On her hands, the cuts from the rattan cord still burned, streaked with mud and blood. Under the flicker of lightning, her face appeared ghostly pale and heartbreakingly fragile, like a delicate flower snapped by the storm, unnoticed and unseen. Around her, the world grew dim and bleak. The thatched roof she had fought so hard to secure creaked overhead, rain dripping through in loud plops, blending with the relentless howl of the wind. It all sounded like a mournful symphony, enveloping her frail body lying motionless on the cold ground. No footsteps, no light, only darkness, storm, and a terrifying silence. In the distance, thunder rumbled. A flash of lightning split the sky, illuminating the small yard for a brief instant. There lay Hân unconscious, her soaked clothes clinging to her thin frame, a haunting vision of sorrow. She looked like the last fragile leaf clinging to a tree in a storm, quivering, helpless, ready to be swept away at any moment. Time dragged on unbearably slow. The rain would not stop, the wind would not ease, and Hân lay there, powerless and alone. Only the heavens bore witness to her pain and exhaustion. In this stormy night, her life seemed to hang by a thread, like a flickering oil lamp about to be extinguished by the wind. Rain hammered down, heavy and merciless, drenching the earth. The thatched roof, though reinforced, shook violently under the storm's fury, spilling streams of water down its edges. Amid this chaos of storm and darkness, Hân remained still, her frail body engulfed by wind and rain, as if vanishing into oblivion. The wind tore through the trees, snapping branches that crashed to the ground beside her. Her hands lay limp at her sides, fingers cracked from the cold, blood and mud washed together by the rain. Her skin grew paler by the moment, her breath so faint it seemed nothing more than mist, ready to vanish at any second. The rain drowned out every other sound. No voices called, no footsteps approached, only endless, crushing desolation. The small house nearby, its door ajar, sat in darkness, no light, no sign of life. It seemed abandoned, as though Hân herself, struggling between life and death, was nothing but a forgotten soul. Suddenly, another lightning bolt ripped across the sky, its silver light illuminating her wan face. Her tangled black hair clung to her skin, her lips bluish, parted as if to call someone, yet no sound emerged. Darkness rushed back, swallowing her fragile form whole. Thunder boomed after, shattering the night like a cold, merciless warning from the heavens. Time crawled on, each second stretched into an eternity. Hân still lay there, helpless in the storm's wrath. The chill seeped into her body from the damp earth beneath her, consuming what little strength she had left. She felt herself sinking into an endless void, where wind and rain no longer mattered. Only a bone-deep silence, cold, terrifying, and hopeless. In that moment, it was as if the world had turned its back. No guiding light, no reaching hand. Only darkness, storm, and suffocating silence, while Hân's fragile life drifted away, like an oil lamp's final flame flickering before being snuffed out by the raging wind. In the freezing downpour, Hân's consciousness slowly slipped into a haze. The roar of the storm outside faded into the distance, replaced by a strange silence, as if she were drifting somewhere between reality and dream. Her body was numb, but deep within her mind, fragments of memory surged forth, so vivid they made her heart tremble. She saw herself as a child again, walking hand in hand with her mother across a field in a summer rain. The sound of laughter rang bright through the air, her hair fluttered in the wind, and the earthy scent of wet soil mingled with the fragrance of young rice stalks. The peace was extraordinary, as though time had turned back, granting her one more taste of carefree childhood. She reached out, yearning to hold her mother's hand once more. But just before she touched it, the image shattered like smoke, vanishing into mist. Then the memory shifted. This time it was Thanh. He appeared in a dim glow, his warm smile shining like the sun after rain, his eyes filled with quiet faith. He stretched out a steady, calloused hand, as if to pull Hân out of the cold darkness surrounding her. She heard his voice calling her, clear, desperate, but each word was torn apart by the pounding rain, dissolving into nothing. Her throat tightened. She tried to call back, but only a weak, ragged breath escaped her lips. In that moment, she saw again the thatched roof she had just secured, glittering under the noon sunlight. Each golden beam reflected off the tightly bound cords, like proof of her perseverance. The sight gave her a flicker of comfort, but then the light faded, replaced by an endless void. No color, no sound. Only an emptiness so terrifying it seemed to swallow everything. A crushing weight pulled down her eyelids, her body sinking deeper into icy waters. Her heart slowed, each beat weaker as if ready to give in. In the haze, memories flooded her. Tana's smile, her mother bent over the rice fields, the innocent gaze of her childhood self. Like a film rewinding, each image flickering past before dissolving into nothingness. Han no longer knew what was real and what was dream. She only felt herself adrift in an endless sea of darkness, surrounded by storm and cold, with no light ahead to guide her. Loneliness and helplessness rose like a tide. As if with one moment of surrender, she would be swallowed forever. On the fragile threshold between life and death, her heart quivered, clinging to a faint hope that a hand might reach out, call her name and pull her from the abyss. In her subconscious, she found herself standing at a strange crossroads. A red dirt path stretched endlessly ahead, bamboo groves rustling on either side, their leaves whispering like ancient voices. At the path's end, a wooden gate overgrown with vines glowed with gentle light, beckoning her like a peaceful harbor for her weary soul. Her mother appeared. The same gentle face, the kind eyes brimming with love. She smiled tenderly, raising a hand as if to embrace Han once more. Memories rushed in. Harvest afternoons, winter mornings when her mother wrapped an old blanket around her, nights of stories whispered in the dark. It was so warm that Han felt if she just took one more step, she could live in that happiness forever. But then a familiar voice broke through the dream. "Han, don't go. Listen to me. Come back." It was Tan. His voice was hoarse, trembling with worry, yet filled with determination. An invisible rope pulling her back from the edge. Amid the storm's roar, his call was clearer than any other sound, striking her torn heart. The wooden gate blurred, her mother's smile faded into the distance, though her eyes still shone with love as if to say, "Live, my child. Keep going. For someone is waiting on the other side." Han wept in her dream, her hot tears mixing with the cold rain on her face in reality. Her heart clenched, torn between pain and warmth. She knew the world outside was harsh, full of storms, but it was also where love remained, where hope lingered, where Tan was waiting for her to awaken. Deep within, a small flame sparked, fragile yet steadfast, urging her to rise, to seize the fragile chance of life on this razor's edge. The dream began to dissolve. Tana's voice rang out again, echoing inside her. "Han!" The world in her subconscious trembled. The wooden gate vanished, the red dirt road faded into rain. Only darkness, thunder, and her heart pounding fast once more remained. The rain poured down like a waterfall, each heavy wave lashing against the thatched roof, the trees, and the frail body lying motionless on the cold ground. Han sank deeper into unconsciousness, her lips tinged purple and barely parted, no sound escaping. Her weak heart beat slowly, each thud heavier, as though ready to surrender to the merciless force of nature. Around her was silence, broken only by rain and thunder. The small house stood in darkness, unaware that a fragile life was slipping away just outside. The wind howled, carrying dirt and leaves that struck her body, making her appear all the more pitiful. Then suddenly, through the thick gray curtain of rain, footsteps echoed. At first faint, nearly lost in the storm, but quickly growing louder, urgent, pounding against the ground. A beam of light flickered across the yard, sweeping over puddles of muddy water. A desperate voice cried out, hoarse with panic. "Han! Han, where are you?" It was Tan. He rushed into the storm, his hair disheveled, clothes soaked and clinging to his body, his frantic eyes searching every corner. Thunder drowned his voice, but he kept shouting, his legs carrying him wildly around the yard. Then the flashlight beam fell upon the ground, and his heart seized. There lay Han, motionless, her clothes plastered to her pale frame, her face drained of all color. Tan froze in shock, then jolted back to life. He threw himself to the ground, kneeling in the torrent. "Han, my God, wake up! Don't leave me!" His hands trembled as he cradled her head, icy fingers shielding her pale face from the rain. Her body lay limp, lifeless in his arms. Terrified, he pulled her tight against him, letting the rain drench them both, his eyes red and swollen with dread. Amid the storm's roar and thunder's fury, the moment cut deep into his soul. Raw helplessness, suffocating fear, as the woman he loved most hovered at death's edge in his embrace. The rain struck down like 1,000 needles, each drop pounding his back and shoulders, but he didn't care. He knelt in the freezing puddle, holding Han against his chest, pressing his face into her wet hair, his breath ragged, on the verge of breaking. "Han, open your eyes, please. It's me. Don't stay silent. I can't bear it," he shouted, his voice cracking, merging with the storm's fury. His trembling hands stroked her cold face, rubbing her ashen cheeks as if to force warmth back into her. His hot tears fell, mingling with the rain onto her lips, onto her tangled hair. His whole body shook, not only from the cold, but from a fear so deep it consumed him. The terror that this might be the last time he could ever hold her. Thunder split the sky with a deafening roar, but inside Tana's heart there was only endless despair. He pressed his forehead to her shoulder, crying out into the storm, "God, don't take her from me. She can't leave like this. Hun." His agonized cry tore through the storm, louder than the wind, a guttural scream that defied the raging tempest. He clung to her even tighter, as if letting go for an instant would allow the rain to sweep her away forever. In that moment only two fragile figures remained against the fury of the storm. One lying still like a broken doll, and the other sobbing in desperation, clutching his only love in fear of losing her. And then through the white curtain of rain, faint lights appeared in the distance. Voices shouted in alarm, cutting through the night and shattering the storm's suffocating silence. The flickering beam of light drew nearer through the rain, accompanied by hurried footsteps and frantic shouts. "Tan, what's happening? Oh my God, Hun." It was Uncle Tu, the neighbor, clutching a trembling flashlight, with several others rushing behind him in panic. The moment they saw Tan clutching Han's limp, rain-soaked body in the yard, they froze in shock. "Quick, get her inside or she won't survive," someone cried out, their voice quivering with fear. Tan held Han tightly, his eyes bloodshot, his entire body drenched. He nodded faintly, as though just wrenched from a nightmare. With everyone's help, he lifted her fragile form, lifeless, water dripping from her hair and soaked clothes, falling in steady drops onto the muddy ground. "Careful, hold this side." Uncle Tu reached out to steady her, while the others crowded close, shielding the light and hurrying toward the house. The door creaked against the raging wind. Then the pitch-dark house lit up as an oil lamp flickered to life. Its dim golden glow revealed Han's pallid face, lips blue, breathing faint and shallow. Tan laid her on the bamboo bed, his trembling hands brushing back her tangled hair, his voice breaking into whispers. "You have to live. Please, you have to live." An older woman hurried to fetch dry towels, while a young man stoked the fire in the hearth. Everyone rushed about, rubbing her hands, massaging her legs, trying desperately to bring warmth back into her icy body. Tan knelt at her side, gripping her hand tightly, afraid that if he let go, she would slip into the endless darkness. Inside the flickering glow of the little house, the storm still roared outside, but no longer was it a scene of isolation and despair. In the heart of the tempest, Han had been found, held and wrestled back from the hands of fate, surrounded now by love and timely help. Towels were pressed to her skin, the fire crackled, hands worked frantically, but her face remained pale, her lips trembling faintly, her breath fragile, as if the final thread of life might snap at any moment. Tan knelt close, his voice choking with prayer. "Please wake up. Don't leave me. I'm begging you." But Han lay still, her eyes shut tight, no sign of response. Tan pressed his ear to her chest, listening. Her heartbeat was weak, scattered, like the hollow thump of a broken drum. Startled, he looked up at everyone, his eyes red with fear. "It's no good. If she stays like this, she won't make it. We have to get her to the hospital now." A heavy silence filled the room. Uncle Tu stammered, panicked. "But the rain is too heavy, the road is mud, traveling at night is dangerous. There's no other choice." Tan shouted, his voice cracking in desperation. "If we lose even one more minute, she'll die in our arms." The neighbors exchanged glances, then all nodded without a word. One young man fetched an old raincoat, another ran to prepare the tractor so they could brave the muddy road. Inside, Tan gathered Han into his arms again, her body light and limp as if drained of life. He pressed his face into her cold, wet hair, whispering a vow as he hurried after the light. "I'll take you there. I won't let you leave me. Han, hold on. Just a little longer." The storm still lashed outside, but now mingling with it came the sound of rushing footsteps, the sputter of the tractor engine, and the desperate breaths of those determined to fight for her life. The struggle to save Han had begun, in a stormy night when they all knew even the smallest delay could mean there would be no second chance. The old tractor roared and sputtered in the stormy night, its engine coughing against the rain and wind. The flashlight beam swung unsteadily, illuminating the muddy road full of potholes. Tan held Han tightly in his arms, her body felt weightless like a fallen leaf, her faint breaths drifting out like wisps of mist, each one making his heart clench tighter. Rain lashed his face like icy blades, but he didn't care. He only tightened his grip, terrified that if he loosened even for a moment, the storm would carry her away forever. The vehicle jolted violently as it hit a waterlogged stretch of road. The wheels sank deep into the mud, stuck fast, shrieking. The driver shouted over the gale, "Everyone down and push or we'll never get through." They all leapt down, mud rising to their knees. Uncle Tu and the young men heaved with all their strength, veins bulging, straining against the weight. Tan, clutching Han with one arm, braced himself with the other, rain streaming into his eyes, blurring his vision. At last, with a final wrenching effort, the wheels lurched free, flinging mud in every direction. The tractor lunged forward again, leaving a spray of water in its wake. But the road ahead was long. Looming before them was an old wooden bridge spanning a raging flood-swollen stream. Water surged over the planks, the boards creaking and groaning, threatening to break apart at any moment. The driver glanced at Tan, his voice tight with fear. "It's too dangerous. If we cross, the bridge could collapse." Tan clutched Han closer, his red eyes burning with grim resolve. "There's no time. If we wait, she'll die. Go." The tractor plunged forward, water splashing, the bridge shaking beneath the weight. Logs and branches hurtled downstream beneath them, crashing against the supports. Tan shut his eyes, holding Han against him, feeling every violent tremor underfoot. For an instant, he thought the entire bridge would give way and swallow them whole. They made it across. Breathing hard, they pushed on, though the road ahead stretched on in darkness, flooded and treacherous. Thunder cracked overhead, wind shrieking as if to tear them all from the earth. Tan looked down at Han, her face ghostly pale, lips blue, her breathing barely there. His voice broke as he whispered into her ear, "Han, you have to hold on. I won't let you go. Just a little longer." The tractor barreled forward into the storm, carrying with it the fragile hope of everyone aboard. The road was endless, perilous, but in Tana's heart, only one thought remained: save Han at any cost. After nearly an hour of battling the storm, the tractor finally reached the path leading to the village clinic. Everyone was exhausted, their clothes soaked, their legs caked in mud, breaths ragged. Tan still held Han tightly, her body icy cold and terrifyingly light in his arms. Through the curtain of rain, the faint glow of an oil lamp shimmered from the small clinic, a fragile beacon like a lighthouse in the storm. Tan nearly collapsed, but somehow staggered forward, clutching Han, his hoarse voice breaking in desperation. "Help! Please save her!" His cry echoed through the little building, sending the night nurses rushing out. They quickly spread a thick blanket on the bed and laid Han down. One prepared an oxygen tank, another fetched towels and medicine. The on-duty doctor, a middle-aged man with hurried but steady hands, checked her pulse and breathing. His face hardened, voice grave. "Her heart is very weak. If you'd come any later." Tan froze, his eyes wide, his hand gripping her so tightly his knuckles shook. He could only repeat one desperate plea, like a prayer wrung from his soul. "Please save her, don't let her die." The emergency treatment began at once. An oxygen mask pressed over her nose, hot towels rubbed across her skin, injections delivered swiftly into her veins. The cramped room filled with the weak, faltering beeps of the heart monitor, mixing with the storm's howl outside. Everyone held their breath, eyes fixed on the doctor's every move. Tan knelt at her side, his vision blurred with rain and tears, as though wagering his very life on this fragile chance. Time dragged painfully slow, each second stretching into eternity. Then suddenly the monitor leapt with a stronger pulse, the beeps coming faster, steadier. The doctor exhaled sharply, calling out, "We've got a response. Keep it going." The room erupted in a fragile burst of hope. Tan gripped Han's hand tighter, tears streaming onto her cold cheeks as he whispered, broken but fervent, "Do you hear that, Han? You're alive, don't leave me." The beeping of the heart monitor grew steadier than before, though still slow and fragile, like a thread so thin it could snap at any moment. The small clinic room was filled with suffocating silence, broken only by the pounding rain outside and the whistle of wind through the narrow cracks of the shutters. Every gaze fixed upon Han's frail body, lying there small and weak, like a leaf battered down by the storm. The doctor frowned deeply, adjusting the machine, administering another injection of cardiac stimulant. His voice, hoarse but firm, instructed the nurse, "Keep her stable, it's still critical. She's not out of danger yet." Tan knelt right beside the bed, gripping Han's icy hand so tightly his own shook. His bloodshot eyes never left the monitor's screen. Each time the jagged line rose slightly, he held his breath, heart hammering with hope, only to sink into despair again when it fell back into its faint, faltering rhythm. He bent close, whispering hoarsely in her ear, like a desperate prayer, "You have to hear me, please fight. I'm here. I'll never leave you." But only shallow, fragile breaths came in return, so faint they seemed to dissolve into the air. Tan shuddered, tears spilling uncontrollably, falling hot and desperate onto her hand. The crushing weight of helplessness gripped him. He could sacrifice everything, do anything, yet he could not hold on to her slipping breath. In the cramped room, each passing minute stretched into eternity. No one dared to speak, all holding their breath. Outside, the rain hammered down relentlessly, drumming an ominous rhythm, as though composing the score to an uncertain ending. Tan lowered his head onto her hand, heart writhing in agony. If I lose you, I don't know why I'd go on living. While everyone else in the clinic waited in tense silence, Tan nearly collapsed into despair. He gripped her hand tighter, tears flowing endlessly, until suddenly her fingers twitched. At first it was so faint it felt like an illusion, but Tana's head snapped up instantly, eyes wide in disbelief. Hun, you moved, didn't you? Han, it's me, listen to me. His voice cracked, trembling yet bursting with hope. At that moment the heart monitor beeped more steadily, the lines climbing a little higher. The doctor leaned closer, his voice firm yet tinged with relief. She's responding. Her body is beginning to fight back. Tan trembled, bending low to her ear again, whispering fervently. It's me. I'm right here with you. Don't leave me. You've come back. Relief washed across the room. Some eyes glistened with tears of joy. A nurse hurried to change the wet towels, rubbing her skin to keep warmth in, while the doctor signaled for more cardiac support medication. Then Han's bluish lips quivered. A long, shaky breath escaped, weak but stronger than before. Tan froze, his heart leaping, then cried out with joy, his voice breaking. She's breathing better. My God. Thank you. Thank you. In the flicker of the oil lamp, Han's face was still pale, but her long lashes trembled, as though she was fighting her way back from the edge of death. Tan clutched her small hand to his cheek, whispering with all the love and faith he had left. I'm here. You will wake up, I promise. The whole room seemed to brighten, not only from the fire crackling in the hearth, but from the fragile spark of hope that had finally pierced the long night of despair. The rain outside still poured relentlessly, showing no sign of stopping, but inside the small room, the atmosphere began to shift. Tan gripped Han's hand tightly, his eyes never leaving her pale face for even a second. His heart pounded in his chest, fear and hope tangled together, when her eyelashes quivered, then slowly began to lift. The faint glow of the oil lamp fell across Han's face. Her eyes opened halfway, cloudy and weary, as if she had climbed back from the depths of an abyss just to glimpse the light. Tan froze, his lips trembling, his vision instantly blurred with tears. He leaned down, voice breaking in a sob. Hun, can you hear me? You're awake, my God, you came back. Han's gaze wandered sluggishly, struggling to focus, until at last it rested on the familiar face trembling with emotion before her. A faint sigh escaped her bluish lips, then she whispered weakly, Tan. Just that one word was enough to make Tana's heart erupt. He burst into tears, pulling her into his trembling embrace, whispering over and over, I'm here. I've always been here. Don't you ever leave me again. For a few moments everyone in the room was silent, then exhaled in relief. The doctor nodded, his tone both firm and gentle. She's out of immediate danger, but she's still very weak. She needs rest and careful care. Tan nodded again and again, tears still streaming down his cheeks. He pressed her frail hand against his face, feeling the fragile warmth slowly return. In that instant the storm outside no longer mattered. For in his arms Han had opened her eyes. She had returned from the edge of death. Inside the little clinic, the oil lamp burned softly, casting its pale glow over Han's still pale features. Outside the rain had eased, though its steady patter lingered, a reminder that the storm was not yet gone. The air inside, however, grew warmer, the steady beep of the heart monitor bringing relief to everyone's chest. Tan sat close beside her, both his hands wrapped tightly around hers, his eyes still rimmed red but glowing now with happiness. When her eyes opened wider, more alert, he leaned close and whispered, You terrified me. If I'd lost you, I wouldn't have known how to keep living. His voice cracked, trembling in his chest. Tears welled up again, this time not from fear, but from overwhelming joy. Han gazed at him, her dry lips curling into a fragile smile, light as a passing breeze. She spoke slowly, each word weak but clear. I heard you calling. I couldn't go, because I knew you were waiting for me. Those words were like a tiny flame rekindling Tana's heart. He pressed his forehead to hers, clutching her frail hand as if never to let go again. That's right. I'll always wait, always stay by you. As long as you live, no storm, no trial will ever make me let go. Han closed her eyes, letting his hot tears fall onto her cold skin. Deep inside she felt a peace she had never known before, peace in knowing she was no longer alone. And in that moment, the storm outside seemed to fall silent. All that remained was the fragile yet unyielding pulse of life, and the steadfast love between two souls, shining bright enough to pierce through the longest, darkest night. Morning slowly broke after a long stormy night. The first rays of sunlight pierced through the rain-soaked leaves, shining through the small clinic window, lighting up the room still heavy with the scent of medicine and lingering kitchen smoke. Outside, birds began chirping again, while raindrops fell rhythmically from the tiled roof, like a gentle melody signaling a new beginning. Han opened her eyes, this time no longer clouded as the night before. She felt the warmth of a clean blanket wrapped around her body, and more importantly, the warmth of Tana's hand still holding hers, steady and reassuring. He had sat by her side the entire night, dark circles under his eyes from staying awake, yet when he saw her wake, his gaze lit up with tenderness so moving it brought a lump to her throat. "You're awake, thank heaven," Tan whispered, his trembling hand tightening around hers. Han smiled faintly, her eyes glistening with tears. "Last night, I thought I'd never see you again, but it was your voice that pulled me back." Tan leaned down, pressing his forehead gently against hers, his voice low but resolute. "From now on, I won't let you face any storm alone. Promise, I'll protect you no matter what happens." Tears rolled down Han's cheeks, but they were no longer tears of fear, but of happiness. She nodded softly, replying, "And I promise, I won't ever let go of your hand, whether in storms or in peace." Bathed in the morning light, their vow echoed in both their hearts, a solid beginning for the future ahead. Outside, the rain had ceased, the sky stretched wide and clear, a reminder that after every storm, a gentle new day always awaits.
Hello mọi người, lại là mình đây. Chúc mọi người một ngày mới vui vẻ và hạnh phúc. Chúc mọi người có một ngày làm việc đầy năng lượng. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video của mình nha. Hy vọng rằng những câu chuyện về những người mẹ đơn thân sẽ mang đến niềm vui cho mọi người trong cuộc sống và giúp mọi người hiểu hơn về hoàn cảnh của những người mẹ đơn thân sinh sống ở Việt Nam. Và nếu mọi người thấy kênh của mình hay, những video của mình có ý nghĩa thì mọi người nhớ like, share, bật chuông thông báo để nhận thông báo khi mình đăng video mới nhất để không bỏ sót một video nào. Và đặc biệt là nhớ để cho mình một nhận xét ở dưới phần bình luận để những video sau sẽ hay và hấp dẫn hơn. Và nếu thấy kênh của mình hay thì nhớ chia sẻ cho bạn bè giúp mình để kênh của mình ngày càng phát triển hơn. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video của mình. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại.